All right, guys, Internet Marketing Redneck here. I'm here with Miguel Fuentes, and we met just like me and Julia from the other day. We met, and we both bought tickets to Live the Dream 6, and you were in that same group where we had to do videos. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was with Miss Lisa Thompson.
yeah, yeah. Lisa started all that, and but out of the whole group, there was maybe 5 or 6 people that did a lot of videos and got results from it, and me, you, Julia, there's a couple other people. And it's pretty cool that we still talk. So, so what I want to do, I want to go on a journey from when you started. What led up to you getting into network marketing up into the point you're at now? Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds awesome.
All right,
I'd,
cool.
I'd love to share it. Well, I guess my story, when I tell my story, it's a little bit, I don't want to say it's boring, but it's a lot like other people's stories. Except there's a twist. There's a twist and a point in this story where most people don't talk about it. They don't like to talk about these kinds of things. They don't like to share these kinds of things because it's just not fun to talk about.
Right.
I grew up in Denver, Colorado. Um, a lot of people like to say they came from humble beginnings. I like to say we were very grateful. I was one of those kids that grew up and never knew that I was, never knew that we're not poor. I never knew the difference. I didn't care. I didn't know, so I didn't know. But grew up in our family and everything. Went to college. Graduated from college. I was a blue chip athlete in high school, wrestled some in college, ended up graduating from college in about 2004 with a degree in human performance and sport. But here's the part of the story that gets difficult is I never did anything with my degree. Okay, so I never did anything with my degree. I never pursued any major professional um, I didn't pursue a major professional career, and there could be many reasons for that, which I understand those reasons now, but at the time I didn't understand them. Like it was like I had this big fancy degree, but I had no way or no understanding of myself or how to use it. So it was, I wouldn't say it was a waste of time because I grew a lot from having gone through the steps of educating myself. I worked I worked full time. I worked full time and I put myself through college, paid for everything myself, and yeah, that did not leave a whole lot of time to build relationships with the people that you need to build relationships with. So you kind of fall out of school and you're like, well, what do I do now? It's like, what if it turns out that I hate this career or this isn't the thing? And that's where I found myself at that time. So lo and behold, I started. I had to go to work because I had to make money, right? So I started a job, and I started driving a truck. I drove a tractor trailer, 18 wheelers, Class A CDL, and that was fine. It paid the bills. It was great. I was young. I didn't have a whole lot of responsibility. I met my wonderful wife. We got married. We had a son, and she ended up getting laid off from her job in about 2008. Now, this is when reality really starts to kind of set in. Is when you're dealing with having to basically what I was dealing with at the time was having to manage an entire family and on one person's salary. And that's the situation I was in. We'd had my son at the time. He was 2 years old. I was the only income in the entire house, which wasn't easy at the time. My wife was in college full time. My mom had just retired and had nowhere to stay, so she stayed with us. And that's the situation that I was in at the time. So lo and behold, when I had somebody make an opportunity, make a proposal that for me to join their company from someone that I really respected in my community, I mean, holy cow! I mean, I jumped at the idea and the chance to do that, a chance to make some extra money on the side, outside of what I was already doing. Because at the time, man, you wouldn't. We really needed it at the time because I was making it. I was barely check to check, could barely afford to stay. Gas in the car, food on the table, all that stuff. And it's you it's not the American dream. That's not the part of the dream that people like to talk about, that they like to share with other people. The other half of the story goes, okay, I graduated from college, I got this super professional job, and I was making six figures, and all of my dreams came true, and I had a wonderful, perfect life. But that's just not the case. It's almost unreal for in the world anymore for people to do that, especially to do that for any length of time. And reality sets in is when you realize that you don't have the circle of influence that you should have at the time. Right, I didn't have anywhere to turn when I graduated from college. I had nowhere to go, and working was the only other option. So I put myself into that position. um, my story is a lot like other people's stories, because I feel like there's a lot of people out there in the world today that are living paycheck to paycheck, that are struggling to make ends meet, and have families to support and real reasons to do things. So, you know, that's my story in a nutshell. Overall, that's pretty much what I was dealing with and why I was drawn to network marketing. As far as online marketing is concerned, that comes from just sucking at network marketing.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, and we wouldn't be talking about this. We wouldn't be talking right now if at the beginning, because I got in a network marketing company, and at first I was pursuing real estate, and
Mm.
I failed at that. That was in 2008, so you kind of know where that went. And that's when I got started. And somebody said, "Hey man, everything is going down," and showed me a network marketing company. Well, I sucked at it too, and that's when I found Adam Chandler, and it was weird because Facebook was a lot different back then. I could
Mm.
just go on Facebook and straight from his profile, I could enter my email and everything. And he gave me a call. You want to get started? I said, yeah, but I was bad at it too. But if I wasn't bad at it, then we wouldn't be here. And nobody wants to hear a story that, hey, I had money and I made more money. So, people like to hear stories of I had nothing and, I went, no, I'm not, I don't. But your story is a lot like mine because my boy is 3 right now, and I had to sit down with my wife, and I have a Class B CDL with a hazmat and all,
Mm.
and my two options were build my business or get a Class A CDL and go over the road, and I definitely didn't want to do that because that kind of defeats the whole purpose of even doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of life is that? So, uh, you just have to weigh your options. You either be gone all the time and provide a decent life for your family, or you stay here and struggle it out and get somewhere. So it's good. It don't really you say it's kind of like other people, but it is good. It's a good story. You know what I mean?
It is. It is a good story. It's becoming the new American classic.
Yeah, it is,
I
and it's crazy.
graduate, got into debt, got the house, got the kids, got the family, had no money. I was broke.
Yeah, and it's crazy that so many more people right now than ever before are learning that they can make a difference.
Mm.
So
It's never been easier than now to simply step out there and do something you love, teach people about things that you love, and find the right people. Holy cow, the internet is a big, wide open place. All you really need is a camera and a blog space, and you can build something with it. You can build something legitimate based on what is in your heart, what
yeah,
you believe in.
yeah, and I like to think of it as like 10%. If at least 10% of the people I'm talking to love what I'm talking about, then I'll be all right as long as I keep getting more. But that's just my thing. I don't know if it's accurate, but it seems it works. But
Absolutely.
so you're in network marketing, you failed at it. What made the difference between you failing to the point that you actually started doing good and internet marketing? What did you do to actually start doing good?
Well, I would say, let's see. When I was in network marketing, um, that's really kind of the tragedy of not having a circle of influence. Is when you come out, like, it's really a lot how people see you. Okay, how people see you. This is the difference between what a leader that can make 5 or 10 phone calls and sign up 8 people, right? They
Right.
can do that because they have that circle of influence. People see them as a leader before they were in network marketing. Someone who has no circle of influence, or it's a bunch of people that you know are maybe not interested in entrepreneurship, or they're not geared towards entrepreneurship or doing anything of that nature, if you have that group of people that you were already with when you started, it's going to be very difficult to be successful fast. Not like, the realtor or the, it makes a difference how people see you. If they see you as a leader, it's very simple to start recruiting people very, very quickly. If someone sees you as a truck driver,
All right.
there's a lot less reason to follow that guy. So I mean, that was for me a very hard lesson that I had to learn, and it kind of slapped me in the face when I realized that's the situation I was in. I wasn't in the position that I was thought of as a leader in my community. I wasn't thought of as a respectable guy or whatever. I was just a truck driver guy, and that was it. And
Yeah.
that was fine. And believe me, there's nothing wrong with being a truck driver. I know so many people that are just great, amazing people who are, I love them to death. There's nothing wrong with living your life that way as long as you're happy. But I wasn't happy. I didn't like where I was at, so I wanted a change. The things that made the difference when I got online, the single and most important factor that has kept me in the game for as long as it has, that has actually started contribute, that has contributed to my successes, is the fact that I just won't quit, man. I
Right.
just will not quit. I am, holy cow. Like I pump myself up on a regular basis. I do a ton of personal development every single day. I, I'm just not smart enough to give up. That's just
Yeah.
the bottom line. I just refuse to quit on what I said I was going to do. And I that's got to be my one and only real reason why I've been so successful online is, right now I'm marketing Instagram, but that wasn't my first strategy, not by a long shot. I bounced around to various different strategies. At first I was working on Facebook and sending out these horribly embarrassing messages to people that I have to go and look at again later, because if you put it on the internet, it's up there forever. And I
Right.
go to re-message that person, and there's that horrible message about becoming a six-figure earner that I sent them.
Right.
It's very embarrassing. And then I was on my fan page doing stuff on my fan page for a long time, and really wasn't getting anywhere with that. Um, yeah. Then I blogged for a while and really never found my niche until Instagram broke in about 2014ish. That's when
Hmm.
things started to change, because I found something that was mobile, so it fit my lifestyle, because I didn't have a lot of time between my job and between doing everything else that I was doing at the time. I just didn't have the time to commit to 2.5 hours, 3 hours a day to work my business. But Instagram was mobile. I had access to millions of people right there in my phone. Plus, it gave me an outlet to be creative with, which I absolutely enjoy. I enjoy making memes and, you know, being creative with the videos and whatnot. So it was a perfect fit. And once I committed to doing that, that's when I started seeing the success. When I hit the first rank in my online community in My Lead System Pro, it actually happened because I just committed to doing one thing, and I just did that thing religiously every single day, and it just built up over time, and just learn how to network and learn how to talk to people. Because there was, in my story, I didn't mention this, but there was a point when I was just calling cold leads, um, in my network marketing career. If I had to say there was any result from me trying to work my warm and cold market, like face to face, it was calling cold leads. That was
Right.
the only result I got from that. Was I got pretty damn good on the phone.
Yeah.
That was my one big result from the entire experience, was having, um, I made thousands and thousands of phone calls. Like, I just would buy leads, and I had purchased a training program, which I literally maxed my credit card. I maxed out two different credit cards so I could buy this one training program with somebody that was teaching people how to cold call. And yeah, I had maxed out two credit cards to make that happen, because I couldn't afford it on just one, because I had to split the bill. So I did that, and I just would rip through these leads, and I just followed all their trainings, and I'd never made a freaking sale out of any of those calls. But the one result I did get was that I got really, really good on the telephone, where like to the point where I was getting presentations off of the telephone, just off of people that I just met, had
Right.
never talked to before, and just, okay, let's do this presentation. So, I mean, it was difficult. It was definitely a hard thing to persist through, because if you've ever called cold leads, you never know what you're going to get. It's like, holy crap. And after a while, you're just like, this sucks. But you persist because you had a dream, and I'm so damn hard headed. I just won't quit. Once I smell something, once I see something, I'm just want to get there. So I just keep working at it, no matter what it takes.
Yeah, I'm convinced that what you're talking about right now it's a curse of the entrepreneur, and I'll explain it. Think about it for a second. Whenever you go through life, and if you don't know nothing about about an entrepreneur, you don't care. You just live your life. You go to work, you're happy. But as soon as you learn about it, it's like a big. It's gonna sound stupid, but it's like a big pair of underwear. You can stretch them and stretch them and stretch them, but when you let them go, they're never going to go back to their original size. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
That's awesome.
That's how your mind is. You can stretch it. But if you stop thinking, if you stop trying to be an entrepreneur, it's always going to be in your mind. So eventually you're going to start back up trying it again.
That's right.
Does that make
I
sense?
love that. That's awesome. I absolutely love that analogy. I'm gonna have to steal that.
Yeah, tell it to somebody, because it's kind of funny. But all right, so in your experience, what is your biggest failure as an entrepreneur? Like
My
one
biggest
time,
failure.
yeah, one time you just completely blew. You're embarrassed
Oh
about it.
gosh. Let's see. I would say that not understanding what it means to persist in a direction.
Hmm.
Um, it took me a long time to figure that out, to really understand that you 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 can't just quit on stuff. You can't go halfway with things, because it's going to bite you. You see those, you've probably seen people on the internet, if you're watching people closely or you're just paying attention to them, they bounce around a lot. They go
Hmm.
from company to company to company, or they go from strategy to strategy to strategy to different strategy to other strategy to doing all of those things. And I did that a lot. I did that way too much, because I mentioned the cold calling thing, and the only reason I never made any sales out of that is because I stopped doing it.
Yeah.
At
I,
some point, I was getting really good, and I was blind to the result of being really good. I was like, holy crap, I'm getting presentations now, and for some reason inside of my mind, then it wasn't enough to persist. So I just was like, this isn't working. This isn't working, and I didn't stay the course. And then I went into the online and didn't stay the course again, and didn't stay the course again on all these various strategies. I would have to say that was my biggest failure, and it was my biggest lesson too.
Hey, can I tell you a story real quick?
Yeah.
Uh, and the reason I tell this story is because somebody is watching this video and they've had some kind of results and they think the result is bad. So
Mm.
I don't care if you get your very first lead. That it's people downplay it. They say it's only one lead. But remember before we started recording, I was telling you about solo ads when I spent about $800 before I got my first profitable solo ad.
Hmm.
Well, I went to Ray Higdon's event. It was called Top Earner Academy in Florida, and I just started. I just got in another company with another guy, the person that bought through his link, and him, it was Adam Chandler and Justice Egan, and we had a little roundtable mastermind because I bought through their link, and we were going around the table talking about what our biggest success was, and there was about nine other people at the table, and everybody else said, over the lifetime of their journey, they had made like $300, some people had signed up, one or two people, and Justice got around to me, and he said, "So what about you? How many leads have you generated?" I said, "Look, all timer this year." He said, "Well, how many you generated this year?" I said, "About 600." And he said, "So how many people have you signed up?" I said, "Well, I just got started with Adam Chandler, but I quit." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because I only signed up 8 people." He said, "How many days did it take you to sign up 8 people?" I said, 7. He said, "You think you're doing bad?" So I downplayed myself so much, because what happens is we look so far up the leaderboards that the time in between, we don't account for that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That is a huge, yeah. I mean, you get your first lead, do a little dance, celebrate it,
Yeah.
be happy about it. It means you're moving forward. It means you're making progress. You're getting better and better and better at what you do. Um, you know, yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, and you cannot create that kind of success without some degree of persistence in a direction.
Right.
You've got to like push yourself to become the master of your craft. But before you can be the master of anything, you got to pick your craft. You can't,
Right.
you can't, it's not going to happen if one day you're on Facebook, one day you're on Instagram, and then another day you might be blogging or doing YouTube or something like that. You got to pick your craft, stick to it, become the master of it, love your results, because they'll only get better when you do.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Now that I look back, if I just imagine how many, if I do a little bit of simple math, if I would have got better at conversions and got the same amount of leads and kept on doing it up till now, where would I be instead of where I'm at? I could have been a lot further, and that happens for everybody. But I was listening to a podcast today, Russell Brunson. You know who that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he said that he hit his first milestone, and that when he hit his first milestone, he got stuck there. And that's when he took him like 3 or 4 years to figure out that the end journey is not the goal. The goal is to get somewhere and make a bigger goal. So it's like bodybuilding. If you start seeing results and you start getting bigger, you're never going to be big enough. You know what I mean?
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I do a regular Instagram live. I do it Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern on my page, and I say this all the time. Really, when you look at what we're doing, you're never ever gonna. There's never gonna be a point in your career. There's never gonna be a time when you get to stop working. There's
Right.
never going to be a time when you can sit on your couch and do nothing. There might be a day or two here or there, but there's never going to be a time when you ever really get to quit working. Nobody gets to quit working. The only difference is you get to shift the work you're doing. You get to shift from doing something that you don't want to do to doing something that you love and that you care about.
Yeah.
And your impact gets to be bigger in the world. That's the benefit. It's not necessarily this idea that, oh, I'm going to retire at 30. It's like you're not retiring at 30. You're just trading into a different profession that you love more than the one you're leaving.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you don't love it, I mean, that's something to think about. Consider that if you don't love what you're doing now, you're not going to love what you're doing then.
Yep.
Promise you. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. If it's not, just find something you want to do. But this right here, marketing was always boring to me. Like blogging, it was boring. But I mean, this right here, man, I love this, that we can sit here and have this conversation, and it can help somebody. It's just fun doing it.
It
But
is.
yeah. So aha moment. What's your biggest aha moment so far?
Oh my gosh. Um, let's see. The first time that I would have to say becoming coachable and teachable.
Yeah.
That's a big one for me. That was like the first time that I ever embraced coaching from somebody else, and just flat out just like, look, don't think about it. Don't try to inject your own ideas. Just pay attention and just do the thing. Just do what this person tells you. They're a very famous marketer, made a ton of money. Just just do it. Just follow the instructions exactly as they are laid out and don't skip stuff. And
Hmm.
that has made a huge difference, especially if you're in online marketing right now and you get a course. Now, courses come around on the internet all the time. There's a new course out every single day from a different marketer, likely somewhere. All of these courses work. Every single thing that you're going to pick up and buy has a result behind it. You can get the same result, but you can never get the same result if you don't complete those courses and then apply them. So you must like just make a decision on who you're going to follow, do their trainings, apply them exactly as they're meant to be applied, and you'll get similar results. Like for me, the very first course that I ever did, from all the way from A to Z, every module, every single minute, every training applied, was Insta Lead Magic. That was the first one that I did that I actually focused on, and I got so much better results when I knew it. And that
Right.
was my first step to becoming really a master of Instagram. Like, yeah. So
Yeah, for
that
sure.
would be it.
I was actually planning on making a video about this tomorrow. I still might, but but I like to cook a lot,
Yep.
and I learned how to smoke stuff on a grill.
Hmm.
So I found this recipe. It's called a fatty. Basically, it's almost like a stuffed meatloaf. You wrap it in bacon, and you smoke it. So I found this recipe and I followed it to a T, and it turned out good. Everybody loved it.
Uh-huh.
But if I wouldn't have followed it to a T, I would have messed something up. And since I didn't follow it, I wouldn't know where I messed it up. You know what I mean? So as you're talking about, and It's Elite Magic, if you wouldn't have done it exactly how it's laid out, you would have kind of went on your own, and
Hmm.
you would have took something from it. But when you messed up, you wouldn't know where. You would have to start all back over.
Exactly. Exactly. And you can't question it either. Like when this is one of my I don't want to say it's a gripe, but maybe it's just a mindset shift that folks need to make. Is if when somebody who has results tells you how they got the results and it involves some kind of tool or some kind of training, and they tell you to get that training or get that tool, you need to do that. You need
Yeah.
to figure out a way to make that happen, because that tool may be the centerpiece of that strategy, or that training might be the missing piece that you're just missing from that strategy. So it's absolutely essential that you, for one, pay attention, right? Pay attention to what people are doing. Always watch them. Like I always watch leaders pages, especially on Instagram. Like if they're getting a ton of leads, or they're making a big impact, they got a ton of engagement or something like that, I'm always constantly checking to see what they're doing. Always. Like
Yeah.
it's a routine for me almost.
Yeah, that's funny. I bought a Justice Egan course. I'm sure you saw it, the last one that came out,
Yep.
and he was on they were doing a Q&A. So somebody on the Q&A said there was 3 steps. He said, I didn't get the third step, number 3, and I didn't get results. And Justice Egan said, oh yeah, that's because you didn't do it. Next. That was the funniest thing to me.
It's like, that's because you didn't do it.
Yeah. That's funny. Justice Egan, he tells you like it is. If you didn't do it, he's gonna tell you didn't do it.
Yep.
But all right, where do you see yourself in the future? Where do you see your business in the
Where
near
do I
future?
see my business? Um, you know, yeah, I see 10 grand a month, very happy, very healthy. I see myself now, this is kind of an interesting question, because to me, I always see the money, like the tools, like as a tool for what I want to create.
Right.
And if you watch me, you'll learn this about me. If you just hang around with me, you'll know this about me, that you know money is like fancy things that don't really turn me on. They don't. They just
Right.
don't. Like I've often said it to myself before, like when I am making that kind of money, like I'll probably drive something similar to what I already have. I'll probably live in the same place. I'll probably be doing those things, but I'll have bigger goals for my money, for
Mm-hmm.
all the contributions I intend to make, for all the people that I intend to impact, because that's more of what it's about for me. One of my biggest goals. Now this one is like, I was just reviewing this one today, and it was the desire and the impact to leave something for all of those people that come behind me. And in my case, it's my family. Like, I'm going to change the entire direction of my family. Like, we're going this way, we're going to make a big right turn, and we're going to go over there to the nice place down the road. And
Yeah.
it's because knowing the way that I grew up, I said we grew up grateful, and we did. We did. I watched my mom struggle from the time I was old enough to understand the situation, working every kind of job she could get. She used to leave us at night because she worked overnight, and we would just stay home and go to sleep. And I've even seen her work at 7-Eleven just to make ends meet before in the past. So I've watched this woman bust her ass my entire life, because it's always kind of been that way. And I've always known that me changing that situation for not only for myself, my son, and for all of the people in my family that will know and see that example, that means more to me than anything else material that I could create in this world, by far. So yeah, that's where I see my business going.
Yeah, that is awesome. I got a 3-year-old, and I figured out that one day I'm gonna be gone. What I have in this world is not going with me. But what I could do right now is I could take that 3-year-old, and I can start him out when he's old enough to start learning mindset. I can start him out at where my mindset is now and go up from there, instead of starting him out at whatever he learns from people in school or the outside world. I can start him out knowing that you change lives, knowing that you can create things, and he will never be told that he can't have stuff. Because it took me, well, I'm 31 years old now. It took me 31 years to learn this. He can start out at 5.
Right.
So that's so it's
big
awesome.
advantage.
That's why this business is so awesome.
Absolutely.
So if you could tell yourself, if you go back in time 10 years, what advice would you give yourself?
Stop wasting time.
Yes, that's awesome.
I would, if I wasted a lot of time in my youth. A lot of time, I wouldn't say on meaningless things, because at the time they still had value. They still have value to me today, but the amount of effort and energy that I put into those things would have been different. I think I would have changed my focus in those days, as far as, like, I wasn't concerned about building in those days. I was kind of drifting. I was kind of going from weekend to weekend, from party to party, from that's the kind of lifestyle that I lived in those days. And I wasn't concerned about doing anything greater or bigger. I didn't even have any kind of goals or ideas. And that kind of goes along with being very educated, walking out, standing there and going, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm going to do now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hand in hand.
10 years ago.
Do you want to say? You can say hi to Cody.
How you doing? I can't see her.
Come here. My wife came over here.
Look, my little buddy just came in here. So
okay.
I can't remember what we were talking about. 10 years ago today, I was drunk at the beach.
What? Valerian? Oh, man. Okay.
All right. So what book are you reading right now? Or what book do you recommend to people?
Wow, that's a good question. There's 2 books that have let me collect them in my head real quick. There's 2 books that I'm absolutely enamored with right now. One of them is called The Traveler's Gift. That's by Andy Andrews. Fantastic book. I highly recommend you get the Audible version, but it will just light a fire under your butt like you would not believe. That is one of the most motivational books I have ever read. As far as overall impact, the second book that I would highly recommend to anybody who's watching this is called is Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil.
Have you listened to the audio version of that?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's really good. It actually sounds like he's talking to the devil.
Right. And it also, for me, it's particularly meaningful because we were just chatting about this. What advice would you give? I would have made myself read that book at 17 years old.
Yeah.
Because
Well, it wasn't out at 17 years old.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I did. Well, I mean, it was out, just the transcripts of it. But
yep.
But
fair enough.
Yeah.
If I could have, I would have.
Yeah.
I should have.
Yeah. I know Think and Grow Rich was definitely out 10 years ago, and I didn't know nothing about it.
Yep.
But all right. So all right, this call's almost a wrap. But
okay.
if people want to connect with you, where do they go?
Guys, the best way to connect with me, like I'm pretty much everywhere. You can find me on Instagram most days. I do my Instagram live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. That's like the sun setting for me. So I do that. I never miss it. You can catch me over there. I'm at Miguel J. Fuentes on Instagram. Find me on Facebook, Miguel Fuentes on Facebook. Shoot me a friend request, and if you shoot me a friend request, shoot a message with it too, so I know.
Yeah, that's good advice. If you shoot anybody a friend request, send a message.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put I have all that in the show notes, internetmarketerredneck.com. Just type in Miguel, and he'll come right up. And before we go, is there any parting piece of advice you would give to everybody watching?
Oh boy.
I'm catching you off guard.
I know. You are catching me off guard. Like, well, I would say persistence.
Yeah.
You've got to pick a direction. Pick what you're gonna do, and decide to become the master of that thing. That has worked for me. That is working for me to this day. This is July of 2017. I'm coming up on the biggest lead month I've ever had in my career because I decided I was going to focus on one strategy and one strategy only. I eliminated all other distractions, all other marketing platforms, and it's producing the results that I'm after. So if I could give you any advice that's going to change your business, choose your strategy, lock out everything else until you start getting results from that strategy. Then you can start to consider adding something else. So, because it's simplistic advice. It's advice that any trainer is going to tell you, but so many people don't do it. And I'm telling you, do that advice. It's easy and it will produce results. And you'll be the master, and you can develop your brand around it too, which is even better. So,
all right, awesome. All right, guys, Miguel Fuentes, and this call is a wrap.